Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone? I hope you are all okay. You beautiful, beautiful people. We're going to get straight into the meat and potatoes today. And first of all, I'm going to thank all of the people who sent me the details regarding this, what once was a mystery herring. And we all speculated over what this could potentially be about. And it seems to have been confirmed that what this additional hearing is all about is the gag order. And it would appear that Steve Goncalves is challenging it. He's asking for it either to be quashed or he is asking for it to be further clarified. But ultimately, is showing that he is not happy with it. Now, my question is, why would the family of a victim feel like they should speak out if they feel that every single thing that needs to be done in order to obtain justice for the death of their child is being done? Now, we saw, and many people have speculated over the interview that he had done with Olivia. And even in that interview, there was elements of that interview, as stated by Julez over on her channel. And he was questioning basically why people had been cleared so quickly. And it would appear that law enforcement had cleared them because they had an alibi. And his question was, well, if this alibi is so watertight, then what is the alibi? It would appear that that alibi was withheld. And that seems a little bit odd to me. It does seem a little bit odd that in the event that someone is being cleared in this type of crime, why wouldn't you be able to disclose the alibi that they have? If they're on holiday, if they're with someone else, if they're in some other area altogether. The difference here is that the individuals in question were actually at the property. And that's where I would imagine that Steve Goncalves is querying the situation. Because how does someone truly have an alibi if they are in the same building that the crime takes place? And basically, any other person that could have given them an alibi is no longer alive. And the only other person we're in a quandary with, because we're meant to believe that potentially she was either frozen in some shock phase or she was asleep for around 8 hours. So she obviously can't give an alibi either. And there lies the problem. The problem is that we have a victim's family who seemingly want to speak. They want to be able to talk. Now, is it simply that they feel that they have something to tell people, they have something to say, or they are just confused as to the lengths that the gag order goes, and does it refrain them from just generally speaking about even how they are coping and how they dealt with things throughout the situation? Because it's been said that some people who even knew Brian and had had dealings with him prior to all this kicking off had also been told by law enforcement not to speak about it, not to talk about Brian, not to mention anything, not to do any interviews, not to just keep your fucking mouth shut. And that seems to be the same across the board. Nobody seems to be able to talk about anything. And when a gag order seemingly has such a reach, and it seems to be not just trying to protect the elements within the process itself, but literally shutting everybody up from talking about anything whatsoever, questions start to be raised as to what is the true intention of the gag order. Now, I get why gag orders exist. Gag orders exist to seemingly protect the process itself, protect the person who is being accused, and potentially make sure that they are tried fairly And it also protects anybody that is a witness or an informant. Yes, I did just say that. But look, there is a lot happening in this case. We're now hearing about, this exculpatory evidence. And I know this is going to drive some people mad because this is the hot potato at the moment. This is what everyone's talking about. But when you pair that with the things that you hear in the background and the things that I covered in the last video that I released, come on, guys, you have to question certain things. And how are people now going to start attacking Steve Goncalves? Are they going to start saying that he is just a liability? He doesn't need to say anything, and it's the gag order is stopping people like Steve from saying things that could potentially harm the case. And I say there is absolutely nobody who is going to fight for justice and fight for the truth and fight for answers more than a parent who has lost a child. There is nothing that guy would do to jeopardize the situation, but it would appear that he has things to say. There are things that he has obviously heard. You imagine what we have heard. Even myself, what I have become privy to, and I am thousands of miles away. Can you imagine what he may have been made privy to? Can you imagine what people could have said if they have reached out to him? Think back to some of the statements that he made himself early on regarding the fact that whoever did this didn't have to venture upstairs. Now, many people have contemplated what he meant by that. But there must have been something that was said, something that he was told, that made him say that. For him to be questioning the alibis that apparently the other people within the house had, then he must know something about the relationship between them. He's obviously not feeling that all of the people within that home were these loving friends. They were there to protect one another. This 8-hour delay, this law enforcement being called's delay, and the fact that it wasn't even the survivors who made that call, the fact that law enforcement and medical assistants, they weren't the first on the scene. There were friends who were called and they were first on the scene. It raises questions as to whether or not the people who were left behind on that fateful night, if they were being disingenuous in their actions. And he has a right to question that. Now, do I have a right to question it? That's arguable. I am someone who is interested. I have donated a lot of my time towards this and bringing information out about it and looking and trying to find things. They're not my children. So in that sense, nobody owes me anything. They don't owe me any information. But I think as a society, when things like this happen, we have a right to know what the dangers are. We have a right to know about the process and how that is going. And I certainly don't feel that the families of the victims should be kept in the dark and kept quiet. Case in point with the Sean Doherty case. Now, this is a young lad who it was deemed by law enforcement that what happened to him at his own hands, despite the fact that the way in which he was found would point to the contrary, that he couldn't have possibly done it to himself. But law enforcement were telling the family to not talk about anything, not to speak out, not to reach out, not to tell anyone what was going on. Be quiet, keep your mouth shut. And we hear this time and time again. My own experiences within law enforcement and the fact that I know that law enforcement lie. I have seen them cover up where their officers have been abusive to their partners, allowed them to illegally utilize their services to find out about people who are involved with their ex-partners and utilize that information to stalk them and harass them and do nothing about it. Law enforcement are supposed to be there to serve and protect. But too often we see them doing exactly the opposite, and the only thing they seem to protect is themselves. And that's not in every case. Law enforcement, for the best part, do a fantastic job. But there are these cases when that is not the case. And I'm not even going to go into the whole Alec Murdaugh and the Murdaugh family situation and what we're seeing unfold with Stephen Smith in that case. But it does prove that law can be brought and sold by the highest bidder. Now, am I saying that's what happened in the Idaho 4 case? No, I'm not. But I'm certainly saying that there are elements to the Idaho 4 case that do not make sense. But it might just be that they don't make sense to me because I am not privy to all the information. But Steve Goncalves is much more likely to have much more information than any of us. Me, you. Why is he so hell-bent on saying his piece? Let me know down below what you think. And I'll catch you all in the next one.
What's up, Harsh fam? We just launched our new nonprofit organization, United Search Corps. We're going to be advocating for the missing and families of the missing as well. And we need your help to spread awareness for our mission and also our fundraiser. There's a lot of equipment and necessary things that we need for this to be possible. So please take a second and share our fundraiser. For more information, please check out our website, unitedsearchcorps.org. Go over to my YouTube channel and check out our announcement video as well. The links will be in the description below. Thank each and every one of you for your time and consideration. Thank you.